Hello, Uncle Blasters and Boomsticks for your host Dan and Grant. How you doing, pal?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all good, thank you very much.
That is the real Dan, isn't it?
That was me pointing an ring at you, because no, I'm a pod person. Because today we're doing Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. So, for those of you that don't know, when strange seeds drift to Earth from space, mysterious pods begin to grow and invade San Francisco, where they replicate the residents into emotionless automatons, one body at a time.
Also known
Oh,
as millennials.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, mate. So, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 78. What did you think?
I'm just going to come out and say it. I've never seen the film before. It's one of those
No.
movies that you always knew about. You always respected the name. You always respected the legwork that it did in the genre, but just never did know it was a remake as well.
Mm,
And wow, I must say I've really enjoyed this film, and I
God.
could, yeah, definitely see it. It does deserve its place in history. It's a great movie. And what I think I really liked about it, Dan, was the realism.
Yep.
The implausibility of it all is done in. It's filmed in such a way that everything's grounded.
Mm,
It like you're not seeing the heroes or the. I mean, they're not even heroes for a start, are they? It does
no.
feel like very guerrilla kind of like these people have found out what it is. These people are dealing with their journey. It's all from their point of view. You never go away and focus on a mustache twirling sea bad guy that's sat on a throne somewhere. It's those people, that world, that tunnel vision that you see. That's it. That's the movie, and I
Mm.
think it's bloody fantastic for it. What about you?
Yeah, I loved it, mate. I'd never seen it before. I'd seen quite. Whenever people talk about the greatest horror movies or greatest sci-fi movies of all time, top 100, it's always on there, and it's
Yeah.
always been spoiled.
Yes,
The
yes, the
ending has
end.
always been spoiled. Um, However, that didn't take it away, even though I knew it was coming. Obviously, my partner didn't. She was watching it and she really enjoyed it too. But it didn't take it away because it was the journey that got them there. And I was so. I didn't know, so where it was going to go because I knew it was a remake. I'd seen clips of the original
Yeah,
1956 film, and just sort of darted about here and everywhere. But I didn't realise just how much of an awesome cast it had.
yeah.
I didn't know Goldblum was in it. Who I
No,
absolutely adore. I didn't know Veronica Cara was in it.
no.
Um, I forgot Leonard Nimoy was in it.
Yep.
So for me, it was just a Donald Sutherland film surrounded by other actors, probably character actors from the 70s that I wasn't fully aware of. I might
Yes.
have said seen here or there
Yeah.
or whatever.
Absolutely.
But I absolutely loved it. I really did. I did feel tonally. I was after the initial sequence where we see the sorry if this offends anyone, but my partner referred to as space aids being launched from a different planet,
Yeah.
landing on Earth. And then we get to meet Brooke Adams' character, Liz,
Yes.
Elizabeth, or Lizzie. I think Donald Sutherland refers to her throughout the
Yeah.
film. And she's in a relationship. She comes home from work. You see her boyfriend. She puts this nice little flower on his bedside. These flowers are springing up all over the place, which are turning people into pod people. And obviously, he becomes one. She becomes hysterical over it almost instantly. She knows there's something not right and goes to Donald Sutherland, Matthew, a colleague at work. She goes to him for help, and obviously, and what's nice is almost instantly you get that there's some kind of either history or there's a pining from Sutherland's character
But that
over
works.
it.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's again where this works because it doesn't. We don't get these ridiculous conversations or exposition conversations that you get where people go, "Remember that time when we were on a bridge and we nearly got together?"
Mm,
Because that never fucking happens in real
no,
life. And this
no.
film's great because, like you said, I always thought maybe Donald Sutherland just had a thing for her, but never gave it a consideration. Actually, maybe, you know, there was a little bit of history there, and there's that respect, and what could we do if we weren't in a relationship? And yeah, it's great.
There's some beautiful little moments that have nothing to do with the real plot. It's like that sort of when he's trying to make himself laugh, and he says to her, "Do that thing with your eyes."
Yes,
And Brooke just shakes her eyes all over the shop, and it has nothing to do with the overall.
yeah,
Or, you know, it's not. It doesn't even come up later when they turn around and say, "Do that thing with your eyes," so I know you're not a pod person. It's just left to it. It's a beautiful little character moment. It's something you again, like you said, the grounding these characters, and there's a massive believability in their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no expert, there is no, this isn't entirely what's happening. And like I said, there's not many issues, but I think is it Veronica Cartwright and Jeff Goldblum are an item, I think, they're married, and I think she very quickly comes to the point of what's happening, like, this is happening, be a place, but and I thought maybe that's maybe the furthest stretch. It's still not terrible by any means, or even, I wouldn't even call it bad, but that's probably the biggest stretch. And I think that only stood out to me because of how ridiculously well, and again, like on the fly, you felt with those guys. You never felt like that they had to have a conversation, or just for the sake of the audience knowing what's happened. Everything's told through their reactions, and I thought it's just perfect. Sutherland comes across looking like a big tit in the first 5 minutes, is how he is, and then as soon as you figure out what he's up to, and he's like, "This is a rat turd," you like instantly. I was like, "Love you."
Yeah, it is, and that's the great thing, is because it's so good at letting you believe in these characters that you do worry about them. You become concerned for them, and it's even with this script and this direction. I think was it Philip Kaufman, and it's so. I think even without big players like Sutherland and Goldblum was relatively unknown by this point, but you'd still have had a great film. But it's taken this script and Kaufman and this believability in the characters for someone like Sutherland to turn around and go, you know what, I'm going to do this. It's crazy. It's just so.
There's no huge set piece, is there? There's no. It's all done very, very like. It is paranoia driven, and to me, it's almost like the perfect precursor to films like The Thing, where it's just so dogged and rugged and like you can tell it was the 70s and it's filmed that way. It's like some authenticity behind it, and it's just, I don't know, I think that just adds to the fact that you feel everything that happens has happened. And when we sit here and we say pod people and stuff like that, but it's not like it's referred to as jokingly or anything. It's what's happening, and the fact is, when you talk about the movie, you can say that sounds a bit silly, or you need to hear context for it. But in the film, it's like you never go, that wouldn't happen. That's ridiculous. You never ever have those thoughts, or for me, never entered my head, because everything, I know I keep saying this, but everything genuinely does feel like it's plausible, like it is about to happen, and there's a threat there.
That's the great thing as well, because everything that's happening is done almost in the background. You think, like, when the Donald Sutherland and Elizabeth are driving around San Francisco and there's people panic running.
Yes.
Like one or two, but you get crowds of people, you get one or two little people just running across, and it's not in your face, they're in the background, they're just darting across, people are running away from things. They don't focus on it. It's only when stuff like the guy, it's the actor, it's Kevin McCarthy, who was the lead cast in the original, returns, but seemingly is the same character, because he's picked up where he left off on the end of the original. He's like shouting at the screen, they're already here, all this sort of paranoia, and he's doing the same thing to Donald Sutherland's car, and then he goes around the corner and gets run over, and the car follows around, and even though the police are there, everyone's just looking. They've all stopped, and that makes you wonder: is that just people's natural reaction because we all crane our necks when we would drive past a car crash?
Of course we do.
Or are they already taken over?
Yes.
You know, that's the great thing about it. And then the other thing that I loved was the husks. People are
Yeah.
putting big bags of dust or emptying the hoovers or whatever into bins, and then you start looking at wheelie bins and giant containers and stuff all around the city are full, start filling up with these weird husks. And when you realise that's the host, the original
Body. Yeah.
body is crumpled down into this nothing. That's fucking terrifying.
Well, I totally agree. And there's a couple of things. The bit where is it Brooke Adams where she just kind of collapses
Oh God, yeah,
yeah, I did not expect that
yeah,
one bit, and then for it to pop up in their new form
yeah.
straight away after, it's just really disorientating. And I think that's the thing. I think like this kind of filmmaking style, the low angles and everything, they do really pull you in for paranoia and to examine every edge of the frame because somebody out there is doing something. And someone walking on the screen, is that a person? Is that a copy? Is that
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? What's going off? So I do like, again, it'll be worth it. It's going to be a fantastic second watch for me just
Absolutely.
to see all the little details. And the one film that I actually thought of just before we started this review was It Follows.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
much again, we're a film where it's like you don't know what's happening. Is this real? Is this going off? Is this character to believe? How many people has it affected? And I think again, it almost feels like it's a bit of a, again, not saying it is, but it almost feels like the filmmakers, they were heavily influenced, and it's that kind of like to me, a lot of that is one of the most memorable horrors I've watched in recent years, and it's almost like we have to go back to the themes of horrors gone by to actually get back to see what is horrific, what does make a horror film. It's not just about flashiness, blood, guts, and characters quipping and stuff. It's about, actually feeling uncomfortable and challenging the audience.
Yeah.
So
And what I was impressed is that there's three versions of this film that I've seen now. I've not seen the original. I've seen this one now. I think it's Body Snatchers, which was done in the early '90s. I think it had Meg Tilly in it. And then there was Invasion with Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman, which came out early mid 2000s, which is essentially Invasion. And the way I look at it is that it's like three versions of the same song.
yeah,
They all are slightly different, but it's like Always on My Mind.
yeah,
You got your Elvis, you're always on my mind, and then you got your Willie Nelson, you're always on my mind, and then you've got the best version, which is the Pet Shop Boys version.
yeah.
And this is like that. You've got so many different versions, but so far the '78 version is banned. I want to go and watch the '56 version
Yes,
just to see how they pull it off. But at the minute, this is such a great all-around movie, and the performances are fabulous. And this is like, for me, early Goldblum just shows you those, forgive the pun, but planting those seeds of of a brilliant, successful career ahead of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
And
did you notice the who played the priest? He was in it for one shot right at the start.
I noticed Deval.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was in it for
yeah,
that one, just on the
yeah,
swing, and that
brilliant.
was it. And I was like, as soon as I saw it, I went, because we watched Falling Down last week.
Oh,
Uh,
hell.
yeah,
Sidebar, but what a film. Watch that, guys.
I was like, that's so on the swing went, it's fucking Robert Duvall. That's amazing.
It's so good. So, and again, it's like a cast that you could that are also great, but equally they look also like. I mean, I know Goldblum's larger than life now, but they all look so like real that you could bump
Oh
into
yeah,
into a
yeah,
street. Yeah, even Sutherland, he does. He's got that. He's always had that kind of face, hasn't he? Where you think if you weren't a real famous actor, I could imagine you bumping into you anywhere. Like,
yeah. I
yeah,
would actually like to just talk to anyone who's listening and watching at the minute to find out why Robert Duvall, whether it was to find out whether he did this as a favour. I'd like to know why Robert Duvall was playing the priest on a swing when by this point he'd already been in The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. He's already well known, and obviously To Kill a Mockingbird. So he's
yes.
already a well known character actor. So why he took this role as priest on swing for
Well,
this?
wouldn't. Yeah, but it just sounds great, doesn't it? Priest on swing.
Yeah. What are you doing today? Nah, fuck all. Do you want to be a priest on swing? Yeah, go on then.
Yes.
So that's your challenge. That's you listeners and watchers. That's your challenge for this week to find out why Robert Duvall wanted to be a priest on a swing. But yes, any issues at all?
Again, it's maybe the second time, third time. I mean, there's always going to be a few. Like I said, the Veronica Cartwright coming to the conclusion almost straight away, and that's more to me feeling like at some point these characters have got to start heading in the right way direction. I think.
Did you like though that bit where she turned up on the stairs in the building and she was deathly still, and I didn't know whether she had become a pod person or she was waiting to find out whether
Yeah, I was convinced she was turning them in. She was real, then faking it to them, and then turning them in. Then I thought to myself, well, is this going to be annoying? Because she's not going to fake it, because none of them have faked it, and because they know they can just sound the alarm, and they're surrounded essentially. But so I was really impressed with that. Really was. And there's two things: the scene where Sutherland's asleep, and they're like growing beside him, like in the garden. That is. And also the editing, it almost acted like a jump scare for me. You know when they lock Leonard Nimoy in the freezer, and it just kind of like pans in to him, like, and he's like screaming, and he's got his finger almost pointed out, and he's just mouth wide open, and we just get it for a split second of his reaction for being in the freezer, and it was like just really jarring. And
the noise as well. Brett Burt, who did Star Wars, the sort of noise for Star Wars. But you see, I think the thing, and I said this before, that my big the thing that weirded me out the most was Leonard Nimoy smiling.
Yes.
Because obviously up to this point it would just been Spock, and little to nothing else. And when you're used to a character or a person acting a certain way for so long, just a hint of a smile is so unsettling. That's probably more unsettling than, to
me, it's more unsettling than T800 trying to smile and intimidate too.
But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So would you recommend it?
Yes, I would. I really would. I think it's one of those films that deserves its status as like, this is kind of like one of the grandfathers of modern sci-fi kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. I think it's if you haven't seen it, definitely go out and watch it. There's a reason why it's always on top 100 films, sci-fi movies of all time. It's normally on top 50.
Oh yeah, it's revered for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah. So do yourself a favour and go and watch it if you haven't. If you have, go and revisit and find out, and remind yourself why you loved it in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so thanks for joining us, everyone, and until next time, that's goodbye from me and that idiot.
I'm not the real Grant, though. So the real Grant's not that much of an idiot.
See you later, mate.
See you, mate.